Once, a father gifted a touchstone to his son. If he would touch it to any metal, with any metal, that would turn into gold. And he wanted his son to be affluent and abundant. But what did the son do? Any guesses for that? The son kept it in a temple and worshipped it every day. He would light a candle and he would burn incense, but he would never do anything else about it. Sounds pretty foolish, but I think we have done the same thing to our own rich cultural heritage. Today, I am showcasing, or rather I should say, giving some examples of stories from our rich cultural heritage. I am picking up this one, Ramayana first. It is filled with, it is a treasure house that teaches us relationships. How should we establish relationships between our own family members? We have a story of brothers who love one another more than any wealth in this world. Pick up another book. Now, I have the story of brave Dhruv in front of me. His love for his father and the kind of hardships he also encountered. Now, all in all, these stories give us a lesson that life is not about living it luxuriously or materialistically. There is a depth and insight which is greater than the things around us. There is certain spirituality within each one of us. That is a common factor, I would say, in all our ancient texts. This is what it highlights. I'll just bring some other aspects about these books in front of you. They are highly imaginative and symbolic. This is one of my favorite symbols. The descent of the Ganga, the connection of Ganga with Lord Shiv. We like to see Shiv only as a god, but I believe if you stand and have an aerial look of any mountainscape, what would you see? You would see huge mountains as the jatas of Lord Shiva, and patches of grass which are green and brown and golden look like his tiger skin, and it is that part from which the holy river Ganges emerges. I want to just pick up one more thing, and that is, it is also one of my favorites. It is the Samudra Manthan. The tale of the Samudra Manthan is one of the most ancient stories that are available in our texts. What is Samudra Manthan? I know an ocean is something which is vast in expanse. If we look at our own tiny cells and compare it to the ocean. But in my, I should say, perspective, I view that ocean as the ocean which is there inside us. Our mind. Our mind is like an ocean, and there are forces like good and evil that are conflicting in our mind. All the time they are fighting with each other. On one side there are the Devtas, and on the other side there are the Danavas. So these are just representations of the human psyche. If we make use of certain hard work and just apply that consciously into the psyche, just like there was this Vasuki Nag. On one side we had the good, on the other side we had the evil. They are tugging and pulling all the time and creating a churning effect. If we have a tussle and we have this churning effect, ultimately there is some sweet nectar that is the result. Just to tell you that nectar emerged from Samudra Manthan after the Devtas and Danavas, that is forces of good and evil, had a tussle with each other. So these tales are not just fantastic and imaginative stories. They actually have to be understood and experienced as symbolic representations of our own selves. Just like we make use of, or I should rather say Vishnu Sharma made use of animals in Panchtantra, and so did Aesop in Aesop's fables. Similarly, these books make use of fantastic creatures to represent some very serious, I should say, or deep truths that are embedded in our mind and in our soul. If we highlight these aspects to our children, it would give them a stability of mind. They would not grow up being shallow creatures who get shaken up like I should say leaves fallen on the ground at the slightest rustle of wind. We should create strength of character in them so that they get established like huge oak trees with their roots firmly and deeply dug and planted into the ground. So that is our responsibility. Thank you.